What is OMG Network? At OMG Network, we believe that the ability to transfer value globally and without restrictions is a fundamental human right. As we pass 60% global internet penetration and move more commerce online, payment systems will have to evolve to accommodate multiple parties and transact different forms of value. Blockchain makes this possible, facilitating the transfer of cryptocurrencies, stablecoins, and other forms of digital value. But most blockchain ecosystems are limited by low transaction processing speeds and high and unpredictable transaction fees. That's why we created the OMG Network, a value transfer layer that scales the Ethereum network, facilitating fast, cheap, and secure transactions. The OMG Network uses the more viable Plasma protocol to achieve scalability. More viable Plasma bundles up transactions in blocks and sends these batch transactions to the Ethereum network for confirmation. It is through this compression that the OMG network enables fast and secure transactions at a fraction of the cost of Ethereum. A simpler way of putting this would be to compare it to carpooling. Think of each transaction as a passenger in a car. You pay gas to travel between point A and point B. If there's traffic or congestion, you might end up in a bottleneck, paying an arm and a leg for gas. Now imagine if every transaction you make is carpooled with many others. Congestion is reduced, everybody gets to where they're going, quickly and without the extra cost. That's what the OMG network can do for you. So let's talk about how fast. The OMG network scales Ethereum from 14 transactions per second to thousands of transactions per second. How cheap? Transactions on the OMG network cost less, 3 times less than Ethereum. How secure? The Plasma protocol ensures that your value is as secure on the OMG network as it is on Ethereum. OMG Network relies on Ethereum's immutable smart contract properties and is secured by a decentralized network of watchers. Oh, and did we mention green? By carpooling transactions, the OMG network reduces electricity consumption by potentially 99% per transaction compared to Ethereum. Visit omg.network for more information. Hello, Mainnet 2020, and thank you for joining me for my talk, Plasma Proof of Life. My name is Kasima Tharnpipitchai, and I am the CTO of OMG. And a little bit about me, I've spent over 20 years bootstrapping startups in San Francisco and New York as a software engineer and engineering leader. I fell down the crypto rabbit hole in about 2014 while I was working at Github building the billing and payments team there. And for the past 2 years, I've been at OMG seeing just how deep that rabbit hole goes. So what is OMG? At OMG, our mission is to enable financial inclusion and access for all. And we, like many of you here, believe that open permissionless blockchains are an important part of that future. But as we all know, that there's been a bit of a hiccup around scale. So over the past 3 years, OMG has been researching and building a layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum called Plasma. So if you've been following some of the layer 2 scaling landscape, you might be wondering, wait, isn't Plasma dead? And to that, I would say a resounding no. What I think a lot of the public scaling discussion gets wrong is that there won't be one scaling solution to rule them all. Like any engineering project, it's about trade-offs. And if we're going to reach a mainstream decentralized future, we need to be ready to accommodate a broad set of use cases. And those use cases require a lot of different performance characteristics. So we love all the promising new research in scaling solutions. In fact, we help fund some of it. And we agree with the sentiment from our friends in that community when they say that a healthy layer 2 ecosystem has a lot of these solutions living together. Our mission from the start was about scale, and we've stayed committed to that mission in a way that doesn't compromise the core value that we care about, which is trustlessness. And as we saw as recently as March 12th, the industry needs scaling solutions today, not 1 or 2 years from now, and we've been pushing to release OMG Network as quickly and responsibly as possible. So, rumors of Plasma's death are greatly exaggerated, and to prove that, I am excited to announce today our first public mainnet environment, which we are calling the OMG Network V1 Mainnet Beta. So before I get into that, let's take a few steps back and talk about what is Plasma for those who don't know. So Plasma is a layer 2 scaling solution, and it scales transactions in a child chain, which lives next to the root chain. It is fully trustless and non-custodial, and relies on decentralized security in both the root chain for smart contracts running on there, controlling the protocol, and on a wide network of watchers which validate the system. So this is different from side chains such as Liquid in that the funds are guaranteed by the protocol on the root chain, which is implemented by a smart contract. There are no trusted or federated parties in control there. And this differs from state channels such as Lightning by being a full blockchain rather than a bidirectional channel. So many parties can participate in the chain at once. So one way to understand this, the Plasma architecture, is to view it from the entities, the primary entities that are involved. And this is similar to a lot of layer 2s. There are 3 entities. So the smart contracts are one. This enshrines the protocol, and once they're deployed, no one can affect how they work, and you can interrogate them. There's the operator, which is sometimes known as an aggregator or block producer, and this entity is really the processor of transactions. And then for us, there's a watcher, and sometimes this is known as a watchtower or validator. And anyone can run this, and it monitors the system for irregular activity. And so all these entities interact with each other. No single entity is an intermediary. So the smart contracts arbitrate the protocol. The operator collects transactions, or it processes transactions. So it collects these transactions, assembles them into blocks, hashes those blocks, and submits those hashes to the smart contracts. And the watcher acts on behalf of the user, facilitating transaction submissions to the operator, providing exit data that is used with the smart contracts, and monitors the smart contracts and the operator for any irregular activity. So another way to look at this is through the transaction lifecycle. So there are 3 main steps here. And again, this is similar to a lot of layer 2s. You start with a deposit into the system. And for us, that goes into our root chain contract that is running on Ethereum. Once that deposit is in the contract, it's made available for use on the child chain. And you can transact as many times as you want in this child chain. And once you're ready to withdraw, you contact the root chain contract and withdraw your funds in whatever new state they happen to be in. And the key piece here for us is that middle section where the child chain submits that hash of state of the system to the root chain. And that hash is what keeps your funds safe. And you can see how that supports scale, because many transactions are grouped up into a single hash and a single transaction on the root chain. And of course, if the child chain fails to submit that hash for any reason, you still have the ability to exit your funds in a trustless manner. So how are we doing? So progress. We developed the more viable Plasma protocol in 2018, which is the particular flavor of Plasma that we're using. We've built 4 public testnets since April 2019, and they've had over 2 million transactions. We've had 3 smart contract audits by QuantStamp and Consensus Diligence, and 2 private mainnet instances since December 2019. And today, I'm happy to talk about our next milestone, our first public mainnet instance, the OMG Network V1 mainnet beta. So this system is built on what we're calling the OMG Plasma framework. And again, it runs on more viable Plasma, which is the particular flavor of Plasma. It's built with Plasma predicates, which is an architecture that allows us to abstract away the Plasma protocol from specific transactions or applications that might be using the protocol. And one way you can think about it is as a limited form of smart contracts. We've also provided the ability to extend our vaults and exit games, which gives us flexibility into the future. And all of this comes with Plasma security guarantees, which means if you see anything that you don't particularly like, you can always get your funds out safely. So what are the particular features of this, of our mainnet beta? So it's fully trustless and non-custodial, of course. That is something we have never compromised on. Currently, it's a single operator, and that is specifically for protocol simplicity and scale. And the first application we're implementing with our predicate architecture is ETH and ERC20 transfers. And we are able to do that with higher throughput, for cheaper, and greener than Mainnet with an equivalent level of security. And that is available today. And I invite everyone to come and check it out. So what's next for us? I'll give you a sneak peek. So we're working on additional asset types and applications that fit within this framework. The next thing is we're also working on a watcher incentivization mechanism. And that's because the more watchers that are running, the more secure the system is. We're also working on fast withdrawals, and this is a characteristic of a lot of layer 2s where there is a certain challenge period when you are withdrawing funds from the system. And so we're working on mechanisms to mitigate that. And we're working on major protocol improvements for withdrawals at scale. And one final announcement that I have to give is that we are saying goodbye to OMG Go. This launch is the next chapter for us and for Plasma. And the OMG Network is our lifeblood, and we are the OMG Network. So with the launch today, we are rebranding to OMG Network. So hello, OMG Network. And you can find out more about us at omg.network. There's plenty of developer documentation, links to sample code, things like that. Of course, you can come look at our work on GitHub, and you can contact me almost anywhere at Kasima. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you, Messari, for having us.